I am an international development consultant specialized in organizational development. I work many times from home or in other countries, especially Latin America and the Caribbean, a little bit in Europe. And that's what I do for living. As between assignments, I have some time free in Collier County. Since I came in 2005, I have had the privilege of helping this community in areas related to economic development, communications, the media, education, and a little bit of the arts and culture. My background is in economic development, especially small businesses. And because economic development is an area a little tangled here in Collier County, I found that education is like the next thing related to economic development that I would like that I wanted to be involved with. So I've been involved in my son's Veterans Memorial School. My son's school. I have a 12-year-old son. I am married to Betty, a physical therapist, and Veterans became like a second home for us. On day-to-day basis, I was part of the school advisory committee. I participated in a lot of extracurricular activities like Odyssey of the Mind, Leader in Me, after-school programs, and you're supposed to be just a period of 2 years, but I was requested another 2 years and then another for 5 years, and I'm running because leaders in this community, especially from the non-Hispanic people leading education, they believe that this is the time for Hispanic leadership. 47% of the students in public schools are Hispanic or Latino. 25–26% of the population is Hispanic or Latino, and it seems to be convenient for everybody, some sort of representation. Am I the candidate of the Hispanics? No, of course not, but I want to bring to the board my ability to better connect with them, not because it's a matter of language, but because it's a matter of culture. It's a matter of understanding them, whether they are Hispanic or Latino, if they are immigrants like me, or they were born in the United States. Many times they don't even speak Spanish, but we Hispanic and Latinos are very, very interested in education. And that's part of the culture, that's part of our culture, so I want to bring that to the board. And the other thing is, as a specialist on organizational development, it is not just the budget or the financial part of the board. The district is not the bank. There are a lot of organizational areas that could be improved. The technological side, the organizational side, the administrative side, the relationship with the community, the media, the way that parents, business, and the community at large are involved, not in the board, not in the room, but the schools, the actual schools from the ground up, just as I've served in this community. So that's my hope, that's what I want to bring to the board, and years of commitment with this community for no other purpose than giving back. I'm not a wealthy person, but I am rich in the appreciation and the welcoming this community has been with me, and I want to give back in terms of service, in terms of what I've done for years, so I can live until the end of my life here in Collier County.
Can you describe in a little bit more detail your business, what it is you do?
Okay. I am an independent consultant, so I work for myself. What I do is contracting with companies or institutions like the World Bank or the Inter-American Development Bank, and contractors, especially Washington, D.C. based, that contract with USAID. They hire me for specific projects especially on economic development and evaluation. Usually they like for me to do performance evaluations, middle term evaluations, because what they look for is the recommendations, not ex post evaluations or no impact evaluations that usually are 3 or 4 years later. So I am independent. I do my work. I get paid, and I live very well, but modestly here in Collier County.
So as part of your job then, what you do is look at systems that are in place and decide how well they're working and try to come up with metrics to measure how well things are working?
A key part of my job is designing performance indicators according to the nature of the project or institution, mostly related with economy, local economy, workforce development. I got a contract now in September for workforce development for people with disabilities, technological issues, some upcoming contract with the NASA for use of technologies for climate control, those kind of things. So I design the indicators, I apply them to projects or institutions, and I come up with recommendations. No like the expert recommendations, but I look at the stakeholders, all the stakeholders involved, to get to a recommendation that implies some expertise, mine, but most importantly, what the stakeholders want for the project or institution.
How would you apply your skill set to the school district if you're elected?
Yeah, one thing, one core part of my profession is learning and research. So I don't think that I know everything, but what I do have is an ability to learn, to analyze using techniques that are available for professionals like me, to go into the ground up, learning and coming up with solutions that are convenient for all the stakeholders, that bring the goals of the school by law, by policy to their end, and that the ultimate service of the school district is met for the good of our kids and our families.
How much of your job is done here, and how much do you spend on the road traveling?
Well, that's a good question. I'm here, it depends of the year, but I would say 1/4 implies traveling, and the rest is home-based by the internet with Skype and coordinating projects online.
Do you think that would be a disadvantage for you in terms of your traveling 1/4 of the time to be serving on the school board here and keep up with school board business?
I don't think so. The reason is that those projects don't come like unexpectedly. You usually know when they are going to imply traveling. It is usual, even though most of the companies are in Washington, sometimes they subcontract people all over the world, most times all over the world. So it is possible, it is perfectly possible to match the work schedule with, and besides, the school board meetings are known in advance. The dates and times are known in advance. You know that most of, or I don't know how many, but some of the school board members work here in town, and they have probably full-time jobs.
Looking back at recent school board activities, what kind of job do you think the superintendent's doing now? You've been involved with the schools. You know a little bit about what's going on. Is the superintendent doing a good job?
It depends if you look at back or at the future. In terms of other experiences we as a community have had with other superintendents, I think that she is doing an acceptable job. In terms of advances that the school overall the school district overall is getting in terms of governance, in terms of the financial part, I think it's a decent job. I think as everything is possible to be improved. Sometimes the way that the superintendent relate and work with the board is a little bit kind of secretive. It's like it's not as known, and she always keeps saying that her job is to protect the backs of the board members, but it is, even though the board is not supposed to govern by referendum, it should be a little more transparent or public. And I didn't like, I was part of the education subcommittee for some time, but when she came, it disappeared. Even though legally it's still there, it disappeared, and I think it was a good way to keep the community involved. I was part of it as long as the other committee was the operations subcommittee, which was good also in terms of people strong financially. They came up with good recommendations, but it went away.
What was the name of that subcommittee?
One was the education subcommittee. It was a subcommittee for the board, not the superintendent, for the board. And the other one was the operations subcommittee. What she came up with is called the Superintendent District Advisory Council, which is one way to communicate with the community. So,
So these were like advisory boards that worked with the school board or advised the school board?
yeah.
And now
yeah.
they're just not there anymore?
No.
Or not
Even though legally is there, if you go to the bylaws, they are there. But it doesn't.
Okay. Would you have voted to extend your contract out for 4 years or whatever the board recently did?
When the doctor, what was the name of the other superintendent? Thompson, had his contract rescinded. One of the things that I was part of the subcommittee and also part of community work with the community. I asked them to please make sure that the contract didn't have a lot of time, in case that's called, I think it's called severance time, if the board decided to to fire the superintendent. My understanding is that right now it's just 6 months, which is regular, it's something normal. So the fact that the board prolonged that contract doesn't change the 6 months of severance pay. So at the end of the day, it's a matter of power. The board is a policy body, and it is their obligation to make sure that some stability is in place. And I think because of the 6 months and the severance pay is not a big deal.
So in other words, if the board really wanted rid of her, they could get rid of her under the same circumstances as before.
Yep.
Just a 6 month severance pay.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
the board still has latitude to
Absolutely,
get rid of her.
absolutely. And besides, the impression that created the first meeting where the idea came obscured the fact that that was not the decision, because of procedures, the decision have to come in a regular meeting. So I know that many people didn't like, but I don't share the idea that is corruption or things like that.
You made a reference to the fact that you feel like she is secretive with the board. Can you give some examples or an example of where you feel that happens?
Yeah, secretive may be a strong word. What I've learned is that each board member meet her regularly and ask questions, ask for things to get done or areas of concern, and they work. Remember that the Sunshine Law, they cannot meet, the board members to direct the superintendent. But my understanding is that they ask for things, and the board members ask the superintendent to get things done, and they monitor that the requests are honored and things are progressing. But people, especially the regular meetings, people don't see that happening. Is it normal for a board of an institution as large as the district? I think it's normal, because we're talking about $1 billion budget, 50 schools. This is one of the, geographically speaking, is one of the largest school districts. And again, you cannot govern something as big without going directly to the CEO, which in this case is the superintendent. But people believe that because the meetings are public, it should be like a referendum. And one thing that people don't understand is once a board member is in place, they have to meet the law, state policies, and they are entitled to make decisions. They have to make decisions, because otherwise the state is on top of them saying, hey, you represent us, you represent the government of Florida. Even though you are supposed to interpret and work for the people, work for the citizens of Collier County, still you have an obligation to follow policies. So that part, that's an example. I believe that people don't appreciate the fact that they just work, and not only in public, because it's not a job. It's a big institution.
If you had to speak to the voters right there and tell them why should they choose you, what would you say? I mean, you talked about that. You believe the superintendent's doing an acceptable job. The finances, they're doing a decent job, is your word. So if it's not broke, don't fix it. So why should you be chosen for the school board?
There are several reasons. One is I think always everything can be improved. We have just learned that the district is still a Class B or a B district, even though it has to do with policies changing in Tallahassee, still is a B, and we need to work on that. 47%, as I said, of the students are Hispanic or Latino. Is this taken into account properly? I don't think so. And we still, although I don't have right now the indicators, we still need to closing the gap, the achievement gap between students. And that has to do with gender, that has to do with ethnic background, that has to do with disabilities and those kind of things. What I have to offer is years of service, volunteer service. I am not new to the community. Leaders of this community believe that service has some merit, some value, and I want just to go to the next step, and I will be a parent's voice at the school board, not because I created a parents organization or things like that, but because I am a parent. I have experience doing it at school level, and it is not new. It has been for years. There are several institutions, important institutions in this county that can attest that I have done, and it is not for election. It is just because I believe this is a way to show my commitment to this community.
Picking on that, on the gap, many of the schools with a majority Hispanic students, all the schools in Collier are either D or F, except for the charter school there. A couple of schools in Golden Gate are very bad, and you have been involved in a school. Which ideas do you bring to the table to help these schools with a high Hispanic majority and high low-income students to help them and help the students?
How?
Yeah.
Your question?
Which ideas are you bringing to the table to help
Well,
them?
one thing is, one reason, actual reason that I got involved in this is that I didn't understand and still don't understand fully how the system works. And those parents don't either. No, it's different to I'm immigrant, some of them are too, so it's different to our countries. And what is the role, the actual day-to-day role the schools should expect or should get from those parents is not known, and they sometimes believe that there is nothing that they can do. There is a lot of things they can do as parents getting involved in them. It is matter of language barrier. I don't think so. I don't, because even if they have an English even worse than mine, their children most times speak very good English. So they can work together in terms of understanding and believe me, I've seen that the school say, we are all equal. Well, not that much. We are not as equal as we're supposed to be. And if a school district doesn't take care of 47% of their customers, as any other business, is out of business. So that's not to say that they should be favored or something. No, it's a reality. So going back to your question, it is to look for creative ways to get the parents, the business, and the community at large more involved. Not in the boardroom, in the schools, according to their own realities, each school by each school. I think that's something, and there are a lot of ways, regarding food, regarding operations, regarding even the way the teachers are working, in which the community can say, there are a lot of things that are common sense. Common sense from the point of view of parents. And they may say, even if it is in bad English, they may be able to say, I don't like this. That's my experience. That's the experience I want to bring to the board, and I think more should be done in that direction.
You talk as though you've talked with people who have run into problems dealing with the school system. If you have some specific points that you think where the school can be more open to the parents, I mean, do you have any concrete ideas that you'd like to put out there?
Well, as I said, one of the things I didn't like was the fact that the Education and Operations Subcommittee is no longer in place. The school advisory committees are a very good way to get parents involved if they are well managed, if they understand, if they are managed in a way that is not just to comply with the law, but actually to get involvement from the parents. The ways are in place. The practice is what must be determined case by case. The little things, which are sometimes the most important for parents, need to have a better way to be known by the superintendent and the board. What is the way? Well, I don't think the communications department is doing a good job in that regard. Good the media, good Twitter, but it's one-way communication. Can be the board a department of complaints for the district? I don't think so. That's the superintendent and the staff obligation and duty. But the board needs to be able to get a big picture of key indicators of satisfaction, not case by case, but general trends in terms of customer satisfaction.
Have you had much of an opportunity to look into the issue that people seem to talk about a lot, which is Common Core? Mm-hmm. Do you have an opinion on the mandates that seem to be coming down the pike at the schools relative to that?
Yeah, most people don't like Common Core, and it's the easy way to get into campaigning. The way that Common Core is being implemented is awful. The fact that it is highly related to high-stakes testing and things that are not actually related to a standard is awful, is not convenient, is getting the districts into a big unknown, and it is just for ideological purposes. So even if theoretically I welcome standards, you work with standards, you work with technical standards in your Department of Production, you buy cars that follow good standards, but the implementation is awful and is not getting the results that the theory is supposed to bring to reality. So that's one thing. The other thing is that that is a state policy. And people don't, you can say, we're gonna change that, we're gonna fight Common Core, well, as a citizens, we can. As a citizens, we should elect the officials that are against it. As a citizens, we should probably support organizations that are against it. As a board members, it's our obligation to follow state policies. The board is not an advocacy group. It would be nice to say that, but it's not. No, of course have some say, and that's the way that the board has relation with the legislators in Tallahassee, a say to at least show what the practical implications, bad implications in general of Common Core are, yes. But again, the board is especially a policy body with heavy administrative obligations, and it is not an advocacy group.
You've been here since 2005. Is there a board member you can point to that you would say he or she did the ideal job that you would like to do if you're elected?
The idea. That's a good question, because the board performance has gone up and down for several years, and you know how to measure that is difficult. The board members' performance have a lot to do with superintendent performance. Probably, I don't know, probably I would be more comfortable with Ray Terry. That's what I know. No, but I cannot judge individually.
How have you seen the board performance go up and down? Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, remember the time when they don't even get along at all. They fought all the time in front of the cameras, and they fought to each other saying, "You don't talk to me." It's a board. It's just a matter of courtesy, manners, willingness to collaborate. And fighting is the easy way to do things, not to be famous. But collaborating day to day is the difficult way, and that's my way. So I think it's the way that we need to work, and let's see what's going to happen. It depends on the balance after this election.
Maria mentioned charter schools, and specifically the one in Immokalee seemed to be doing well, better than the other schools. Does Collier County have too many charter schools, not enough charter schools? Are you a big advocate of charter schools, or not?
I like charter schools. Especially the original idea of charter schools is what I most like. And the original idea 100 years ago is filling out a specific need, responding to a specific ability from a group of parents and teachers, or specific local reality. My impression with Collier County Charter School is that in general they are doing as good as the other public schools, with exceptions, of course. They have to follow to close the one in Immokalee. One of the reasons is the way that charter schools are using big franchises, administrative franchises that are national or statewide for administration. And in any school, administration, finance, and the academic part needs to go together. Now with the state decision of increasing the 100 bottom schools to 300, now we have one charter school that is part of that bottom. So you may say, so that school is not doing well. Well, I don't know the specifics, but what it seems to me is that if you move the targets in any policy, of course there are undesirable consequences. How long is going to be in place the 300? I don't know. I hope for enough time for the schools to recover. But in general, again, I like charter schools, and depending on the relationship with the school board, and well, the fact that school candidates to school board are very involved in charter school, that's another discussion.
We're about out of time. Does anybody else have a final question?
I'd like to quickly come back to Maria's question. The schools that we've got that are DNFs and where they're geographically located, do you think that that's the school board member's responsibility to see that gets addressed, or is that the superintendent's duty?
To look at what?
To look at where the schools are that are getting Ds and Fs and how to target getting them better. Is that a school board member's responsibility or the superintendent?
I think it's both. Yeah, I think it's both.
That'll have to be the last word. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
Thank you, Luis.
Thank you, Joel. I thought it was going to be